Wondering if any of you have any strong or not so strong views on the number 8. Is this a number that you like, or that as you think about numbers, does it have significance for you, or is it just a bland number? No opinions about 8. How about number 1? People like number 1, right? They say that's an important number, and you shouldn't be number 2. But number 8 is a funny number. It doesn't come up all that often, does it? And yet, I found myself very distressed by the number 8 this week. Very distressing that in this first reading, the story of Noah, it starts out that this story of Noah starts out because God is really angry at humanity. He finds the world is violent, way too violent, and everybody's violent. And he finds that the world is corrupt. It's too corrupt. And it's beyond salvation, he says. So he sets out to destroy humanity. This is the story of the flood. He sets out to destroy humanity. And the number 8, out of all of humanity, out of everybody. Now, of course, there wasn't 6 billion people back then, but everybody, he could only find 8 people worth saving. Now, this is kind of distressing, don't you think? That out of the whole world, he could only find 8 people who were worth saving. There was one family, Noah, his wife, and the 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were the only ones worth saving. What do you think? Is that distressing to you? Am I the only one distressed by this? You all look like you're kind of in the snow haze. You're iced over. But it's a distressing number. And yet, with this number 8, comes enormous hope. It's the 8 that God turns to and forms the covenant with them. You know, and it's a kind of funny number because as I was thinking about what Mary had to say, what can 8 people do? I mean, if 8 of us, if all of us go home and say, we're going to set our thermostats at 55 for the rest of the winter, what good would that do? Would we have an impact? Can we really make a difference if we do that? Or if you get rid of cars and you just say you only out of extreme necessity will use Zipcard or the car share programs or something like that, would 8 of us really make an impact or a difference? Would it really matter that much? It's kind of distressing, this number 8, once you start thinking about it. And yet, God, who is set to destroy the earth, saves 8 people, and with these 8, with just 8, sets about the process of recreating everything. This number 8, and people who, if you read up on your numerology, or what does the number 8 mean in the Bible, it starts with that circumcision, the sign of the covenant with God that we'll hear about next week, that circumcision was performed on the 8th day. That Jesus' resurrection came on the 8th day. It was the day after the end of the week. That new beginnings don't start on the 7th day or the 3rd day or the 5th day. They start on the 8th day. It is the number that stands for a new beginning, a new start, a new era. And so all of a sudden, my distress, God is flipping into this very positive message. Not just that where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there will I be also, but that 8 people, 8 of you, when you come together in like mind, like spirit, with like commitments and shared desires and shared faithfulness, can do more than change the world. You can introduce a whole new era, a whole new time, a new beginning with new hope. And so the cynicism or pessimism that comes when only 8 of us cut through the world's violence, only 8, what can we do? All of a sudden in that 8 is new beginning, new era, new start. And you are called to act like the 8 that are embracing something totally new. In the gospel, Jesus Jesus is at this transitional moment that he's baptized, and out of that baptism comes this voice speaking to him. And with the voice comes, "You are my Son with whom I well pleased." And immediately, his life changes direction. He is going into a wilderness where he endures the devil. He's ministered to by angels, but he comes out of the wilderness to proclaim, to heal, to introduce a new era, and invite you to be part of that in baptism. And you're in this initial, at the entry of the church, at the beginning of your life in the church as Christian, the Christian faith starts with this baptism. And so it is that today, as we gather, perhaps not with a full house, but as a smaller number, that it's not the smallness of the number that's the question. It's the Spirit that lives in the number. The Spirit that blows people into perhaps a wilderness that can seem overwhelming, but to the realization that as they pass through those challenges, they come into a new day. That's the gospel. That's God's covenant, God's promise. I will be with you through all this, to see the new beginning, to give a new start, to breathe new spirit into you, so that as you turn the corners in your life, that you can look forward with hope and confidence that God is with you and that you will find your way into the new day that embodies this promise, that God is with you and that the best days are yet to come. This is the gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to God.